in finalizing Joe Biden's election victory. But weeks after the election, and in spite of many legal defeats, President Donald Trump is still refusing to concede and continuing to make unproven claims that the election was rigged.
I worry about the country having an illegitimate president. That's what I worry about. A president that lost, and lost badly. This wasn't like a close election. You look at Georgia. We won Georgia big. We won Pennsylvania big. We won Wisconsin big. No judge has had the courage, including the Supreme Court. I am so disappointed in them. No judge, including the Supreme Court of the United States, has had the courage to allow it to be heard.
Well, it is exactly 20 years since Democratic candidate Al Gore conceded the U.S. presidential election to George W. Bush. Gore and Bush were separated by only a few hundred votes in the battleground state of Florida. Here's some of that concession speech.
Let there be no doubt, while I strongly disagree with the court's decision, I accept it. I accept the finality of this outcome, which will be ratified next Monday in the Electoral College. And tonight, for the sake of our unity as a people and the strength of our democracy, I offer my concession. I also accept my responsibility, which I will discharge unconditionally, to honor the new president-elect and do everything possible to help him bring Americans together in fulfillment of the great vision that our Declaration of Independence defines and that our Constitution affirms and defends.
Well, Lawrence Douglas is a professor of law, jurisprudence and social thought at Amherst College and author of, appropriately named Will He Go? Trump and the Looming Election Meltdown. He joins us by Skype from Sunderland, Massachusetts. I suppose one thing that's interesting about this process is that there doesn't appear to be any legal mechanism to that might prompt Trump to concede the election.
That's right. I mean, he's basically exhausted his legal remedies by now. And I don't think he necessarily even held out the prospect of winning in court. I think it's always been a political stunt to begin with. And, if we think of conceding as recognizing the legitimacy of your opponent's victory, there's no way he's ever going to do that. He's never going to concede, even if he does ultimately submit to defeat, which he doesn't really have any choice in the matter at this stage.
What does that mean for a stable or orderly transition?
Well, it means that, on the most basic level, Joe Biden will be duly inaugurated president of the United States on January 20th. In terms of trying to smooth the rough waters that we have in this nation, it suggests that we're really in for some continuing hard times because Trump is determined, at least among his base and among many Republican supporters, to continue to spread this conspiracy theory that this election was rigged and that his rightful victory was stolen from him.
So even if the legal challenges are completely ineffectual, he has succeeded to some extent in undermining confidence in democratic institutions in the country.
That's exactly right. And which is an incredibly dangerous game to play. And obviously, he hasn't been playing it alone. I mean, one of the most shocking and disappointing features of the last few weeks is to see the way in which Republican lawmakers have been willing to carry the mantle of the raging king. I mean, we saw 126 Republican members of the House of Representatives. That's basically half their contingent in Congress, willing to sign on to this completely baseless legal challenge to Biden's victory.
To what extent, I mean, obviously President Trump is leading this effort, but actually to what extent does he reveal existing feeling, existing sentiment in the country there, where there does appear to be this constituency that believes in, it's reflected even in the views that we've heard around COVID-19 and the measures taken to combat the pandemic, but particularly around this election. Is Trump a reflection of that reality as opposed to someone that is the cause of it?
I wouldn't say he's either the effect or the cause exactly. I mean, sometimes I think about it this way. Actually, our older son lives in California, which, as you know, recently had, these horrific wildfires. And you can imagine these kind of local blazes already lighting up parts of the landscape. And then suddenly you have a really long, hot wind blowing hard that turns these little local blazes into a raging conflagration. And that's what I kind of think of Trump as like. I mean, he's the one who has really kind of taken all this receptivity to conspiracy theories and then given it a really dangerous and powerful grounding within our political body.
Well, thank you very much, Lawrence Douglas, Professor of Law, Jurisprudence and Social Thought at Amherst College there. Appreciate your thoughts on this.